Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, I presume?
Delighted to see you, sir.
Are we interrupting you, sir?
It's perfectly all right. This is the book by which posterity shall remember me. It's a romance of medieval England called The White Company. It concerns...
Sir Arthur, would you care to tell us how you, a doctor turned serious novelist, suddenly started writing detective stories?
Oh, wouldn't you rather we discuss... No, I suppose you wouldn't. Nobody ever does. Why did I start writing detective stories? Well, in a word, sir, for money.
Did Mr. Poe's stories have any influence upon you, sir?
There were three great literary influences in my life: Macaulay, Scott, and Poe. When I was a young student in Germany, somebody sent me a volume of stories by Edgar Allan Poe, and I must confess, when I first read The Goldbug, I went up in flames. And so, when I was asked to write something for the popular magazines, I decided to follow in Poe's footsteps.
What was your first step, sir?
Book called Study in Scarlet.
A mystery story?
Quite.
There was, of course, a detective in it.
Yes, fellow named Holmes.
What was his first name, sir?
His first name was Sherlock. Matter of fact, these are his rooms. Eccentric sort of fellow, as you can see. There's a violin, his dressing gown, pipe, cap. We've never met before, sir, but I can readily deduce that you are a married man, that you were born in what is known as the Midwest in your country, and obviously have spent a great deal of time in the eastern states, and, yes. The light over the basin in your bathroom comes from the left.
Why, that's extraordinary.
Oh, elementary, my dear sir, elementary. You're married because only a woman would buy a tie like that, and only a husband would wear it. There is a conflict in your enunciation between the hard R of the Midwest and the more casual, slurred pronunciation of the eastern seaboard. And, oh yes, there's a slight but obvious razor cut on your right cheek, which denotes that in all probability the light comes from the left when you shave.
Why, that's amazing.
Oh, no, it's all elementary. Why, Watson's left his umbrella again. What a careless fellow he is.
Who is Watson, sir?
Oh, really, Mr. Daly? Well, Watson was a device I borrowed from Mr. Poe. You remember, he always had a kind of an amanuensis to tell his stories for him, as someone very like himself. I invented Watson for that very purpose. I was a doctor, I made Watson a doctor. Watson was essentially, sir, myself. Friend, counselor, associate, biographer of my detective.
Sir Arthur, a crime has been committed in the home of a Mr.
I am very well acquainted with the facts.
You are?
Yes, I've been watching it on the television. Extraordinary invention, television. Extraordinary.
Would you, it seems to me, sir, to be a perfect crime.
No such fantastical facts. I never was, never will be. Some of the crimes may have seemed perfect until Holmes got on the job.
Sir Arthur, could you show us, sir, how Sherlock Holmes might have tried to solve this crime?
Well, I need a little more time to finish this chapter of The White Company, but then, sir, I'm at your service. Snuff, sir?
Oh, never use it.
Well, I'm sure if Holmes were here, he'd probably offer you something a little stronger.
Thank you, sir. We'll call on you when you're ready, sir. After Sherlock Holmes, of course, came the deluge. Detective stories by the thousands. Until today, well, today, in mystery fiction, we have detectives of every size, shape, and weight. We have thin men and G-men and continental ops and sweet old ladies who discover the missing fingerprints on the plum pudding, and college professors who solve crimes by calculus, and private eyes who solve them by kicking people in the teeth. Oh, all sorts of amateurs and reformed convicts and inquisitive bishops. And, yes, even members of the police force. The marvelous fact is that all of them, in one form or another, all of them, are in the Poe tradition. Just as he laid down the rules of the game, so are they still played today. Don't you agree, Mr. Stout?
Yes, I would say so.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rex Stout, the real Rex Stout. Rex, would you say that Conan Doyle added anything to the Poe formula?
Oh, he added a lot. I would say that his greatest contribution was that he turned the detective story into a story of character as much as a story of detection. Whereas, well, Poe and his Dupin was a cold fish.
Oh, not so loud.
But he was a cold fish. He was a mechanical creature, all brain and no body. Whereas Sherlock Holmes was a unique and exciting human being, a man. He stupefies you with his intellect, as Dupin did, but also he charms you with his personality, which is very important. Most writers today try to follow that lead in that direction. Nearly all detective story writers try to create a detective with a distinctive personality. That's the trick. My own detective, for instance.
Nero Wolfe.
That's right, Nero Wolfe. You know what peculiar habits he has.
Do you suppose, sir, that Mr. Wolfe might come over and say a few words to the television audience?
Well, he might say a few words, but he won't come over.
Ah, of course. He never leaves his house, does he? Isn't he too fat or something?
Shh, not so loud. Nero, this is Mr. Daly.
When I'm in here, I'm not supposed to have visitors.
I'm your secretary, aide-de-camp, assistant, stenographer, Boswell, messenger boy, bottle washer, fall guy, and general factotum. Am I supposed to be your doorman, too?
You are supposed, in any circumstances, to be polite. What does he want? You know when I'm with my plants, I'm incommunicado. What does he want?
Mr. Wolfe, I'm doing a little research on the modern detective story. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
The answers will be unprintable. I'm Archie Goodwin. I write the Nero Wolfe story.
Ah, friend, associate, counselor, and biographer.
And also insufferable egotist and inefficient guardian of my privacy.
Okay.
Yes, well, Mr. Wolfe, you never leave your house. Doesn't a detective have to, visit the scene of the crime?
My clients pay me for my ability to think, not my sex appeal, my strong right arm, or my ability to hop, skip, and jump.
Must take a very special sort of talent to be able to stay at home.
If I may say so, sir, you have talent. Archie here has talent. Even Rex Stout has talent. I have genius or nothing. That's why people buy Stout's books, to match their talent against my genius.
Mr. Wolfe, a murder has been committed in the home of Mr. Hosea Crandall. It seems to me to be what all you detectives say is impossible. It seems to me to be a perfect crime.
As to that, sir, all I can say is phooey.
Would you care to prove that point, sir?
Just bring me the facts. Would you care to have some beer, sir?
Not now, thank you. We started our seminar with a murder, but everybody seems to be trying to lead me astray.